Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Memento. So this is a donation reward movie. Um, it was a reward for Everett Taves, and I know nothing about it. I know nothing about it, other than, I think it's by Christopher Nolan. I think it's a Christopher Nolan movie. I think that's the only thing I know about it. I don't know who's in it. I don't know what it's about. I know nothing. Um, Now it is a movie I've heard of before. Like I've heard people mention it, I've seen it listed places, but again, I just don't know anything about it. Um, but yeah, I guess we're gonna find out. Um, so yeah, we are watching this on YouTube as well. That's just where the rental is that Everett's paid extra for, well, to rent and all. Um, and yeah, as you can see in my bedroom, I'm laying back, well, kind of sitting back in my bed. It's just the specific position I'm in kind of looks like I'm laying. So sorry if it looks like, I don't know, lazy or anything. I don't know. Still resting my feet and everything. It's still not fully better. Now my other foot's started to get a little sore because of the way I've had to like kind of hobble around to move. So it's like because I'm basically slapping my other foot all over the place, it's getting sore itself. Luckily, that's just soreness, and that's not as bad or anything, but it's annoying still. Um, Hopefully everything goes well, and it continues to heal because it's definitely, as I've noted, been getting progressively better. It's kind of hit this point where it's just like, okay, it got quite a lot better, but it's like we're gonna take a moment and slow the healing down a bit. Hopefully that's only temporary though. But yeah, I'm excited to see what this is about. Hopefully it's pretty good. Um, I have no real expectations. I have nothing to say about it. It's just under 2 hours long, so it's reaching the top there for movie lengths, usual movie lengths, not counting like the massive blockbusters that can reach like insanely long lengths. But yeah, it's like for standard typical movie length, about 2 hours is usually like where it caps. So at least from my experience, okay. Um, but yeah, it's just I wish I could be like out in the living room and everything. I mean, I guess I technically could, but it's easier to rest my feet here on the bed. um, but yeah. So I hope that this like angle the camera's at and everything isn't too distracting. I'm still using the old camera for now because, as I've stated before, the new camera requires everything to be like pushed back a bit, and I don't really have that luxury in here. Um, I don't really have the ability or honestly willingness to like have that figured out while I'm in here. So we're just gonna stick with this for now, which is fine. It's like this camera still works fine. The new one is a little higher quality, but this one still works. So yeah, we should be fine. Um, and yeah, I'm just hoping that this is good. We'll see. Um, so yeah, this is a donation reward. As I said, we have a couple other movies for donation rewards coming in the future. I'm gonna try to get to them as quickly as I can. I don't know if I'll get to another before the end of the year though, because I do have to get to the free movie as well. Plus obviously the monthly movie reactions. So it's like so many movies. um, we'll see. I'll try, but I can't promise anything. Um, in the meantime, in the meantime, yeah, let's just get this going. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in three, two, one, now. So, Memento. Fair idea. Execution, meh. Yeah, I guess I could just call it meh Memento. Or meh Mento, rather. I messed up my own joke. Um, but seriously, this movie was okay. It wasn't anything great. It wasn't anything special. I actually had to look up like the entire aspect of how the scenes were shot and everything. Apparently, the black and white scenes were in chronological order. The color scenes were in reverse order. So, like, the color scenes went like from the end to the beginning, basically, and the black and white scenes vice versa. But it was two like separate portions of the story. Something I would honestly have never have caught myself. So the story is about this guy named Leonard who was working for an insurance company when his wife was raped and presumably killed. Um, he is massively injured in the attack and because of it suffers from retrograde amnesia, meaning he cannot create new memories. He has short-term memory loss. So every 15 minutes, he basically resets. The only things he knows for sure are things he knew prior to the attack. So, and of course, he knows of the attack itself. So, yeah. The main point of the movie is he's trying to work on finding the killer and bring him to justice. However, in the end, we find out that he had already done so a year prior. Apparently, Teddy was an undercover cop, and he had been helping Leonard with his case and everything. He believed him and all, and he helped him bring that all to justice. However, because of his retrograde amnesia, Leonard forgot. And through various circumstances, it brought about to him wanting to get revenge over and over and over, and eventually he even started burning evidence of that revenge already having been gotten, to the point where he's like, there's stuff in the police report missing and shit. Um, and he's basically just trying to relive this and trying to get revenge over and over just to have some kind of meaning to his life. We also find out that the story of Sammy that we had been seeing throughout the movie was also partially a lie. There was a guy named Sammy, and he did have retrograde amnesia as well, and all of that, but he didn't have a wife. The wife we had been seeing, and the stuff about the wife and everything with the insulin and all, was actually Leonard's past. Apparently, Leonard's wife survived the attack. But because of Leonard's own condition, she was the one who was kind of going crazy from it, and eventually she basically accidentally had him kill her. There was a point in the movie where her face was shown. Here, let me. I actually had it up. I do remember this. I did notice this. Where is it? Hold on, it's somewhere on here. I was looking up like to find out a couple things about it in between. But yeah, it's somewhere on here. Yeah, there was a black and white scene before where Sammy was, or Sammy's wife or whatever. No, it was Sammy. where Sammy was replaced like a very split second by Shelby, who is Leonard's wife, or no, Leonard himself rather. Sorry. Yeah, you saw. There's like a very split second during the scene where it shows Sammy Jenkins sitting in the asylum and everything, and for like the very briefest of second, it flashes to him, and that's where like I had begun thinking like maybe he was Sammy Jenkins all along and everything, and but it's like okay, he wasn't, but yeah. So really, the killer he was actually looking for was him. Because technically, even though it wasn't intentional and it was honestly, it was Shelby's doing, he was the one who gave her the basically fatal injections that killed her. The fatal amount of injections. Really, the only person he got revenge on was the one who did the rape and attack in the first place, which is horrifying and just completely despicable, but still. He wasn't getting revenge for a killing, he was the one who did it. But in the end, as we see at the very end, he chooses to, even though he finds out this information, and you can very much tell he believes it, he chooses to ignore it and keep the story going. And that what eventually leads to Teddy's death, which we saw earlier in the film. So, yeah, basically it's a tragic story about a horrible event that puts this guy's life into a downward spiral of all kinds of fucked up shit. He has a horrible disorder that comes from it. On top of that, he actively, as we see and as we learn, he actively keeps this going and ends up killing more John G's, or, I mean, I guess in Jimmy's case, Jimmy G, in order to get his revenge over and over because he can't live with it being over. He can't live with it having already been, done. And it's like, wow, that's messed up. But like I said, the idea of the movie itself was fine. The idea of doing it in a non linear storytelling sense, all good. The execution left it very confusing and a little off-putting in terms of the entertainment factor through watching it. I wasn't super into it. In fact, there was a point where I actually turned to look at the time to see how long it had been because I felt like it was so slow-paced and so boring, honestly. And I'm looking at it, it's like, it's only 35 minutes in of a 2-hour movie. And it's like, it was at that point, it's like, I really just felt like this really wasn't for me. But it did get more interesting at points, and it definitely did have some high points. Like I said, while watching, I really enjoyed the stuff with Sammy's backstory, even though it wasn't completely real. The stuff with Sammy's story and everything was fascinating and interesting, and led to some of the more entertaining parts. And I felt bad for Sammy watching those, and for his wife. And it's like, even when you find out the truth, it's still like, those were still entertaining portions of the movie. And then it's like, if there's points where you don't know who to trust and everything. It's like, can you trust Natalie? She's kind of seems like a bad guy. And it's like, because there's like, oh, they're getting into a fight. And then all of a sudden it goes to like, she leaves, just stays out in the car while he's trying to find something to write down what just happened. And then she just comes back in and acts like this other drug dealer she was with hit her. And it's like, what the fuck? And so it's like, at that point, I'm thinking like, okay, no, maybe she's bad. And I definitely think she was a messed up person. I definitely don't think she was a good person by any means, but yeah, it's like, and then you think through a lot of it, most of it, that Teddy's the bad guy, and then he just ends up being a cop. Like, legitimately, he's legitimately a cop. And not even really a dirty cop necessarily. Not like anything bad. He's just a cop. I mean, maybe a little dirty in some of the things he's done and all. And it definitely seems the fact that he was continuing to help Leonard in this after it had already been solved and all was a little messed up, but still. It's just like, yeah, this is a movie. Let's just put it this way. Let's just put it this way so these afterthoughts don't go on too long. Because honestly, I'm just going to repeat myself and there's not too much else to say. Let's put it this way. This is a movie that I don't necessarily feel like I needed to see. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad movie, and I don't necessarily regret having seen it. But it's not one that I feel like I'm glad I got to see. It's not one like, oh, I've heard about this for years, and it's like, I'm glad I finally checked it out, even if I wasn't a big fan of it. No, it's not like that at all. Again, I don't mind having seen it, but it's not something that I'm happy to have seen necessarily. Again, it's not bad, and I don't think I'm not like upset at having seen it or anything like that. It's nothing like oh, what is it called? The Last Airbender movie or that stupid Adam Sandler bullshit movie Jack and Jill. It's nothing like one of those movies where it's like I actually regret having seen them. It's just I don't feel like I needed to see it. I don't feel like it really did anything for me in a positive way in terms of enjoyment or just yeah. It's a movie. I've seen it now. Okay. Um, yeah, I just don't really have any deep thoughts. I don't really have any heavy psychological things to talk about with it outside of what I've already said. It's just it's an okay movie that just wasn't that entertaining to me overall. But I mean, that can happen. I never know what a movie's going to be like before I see it. With I mean, I guess a few exceptions if it's like a sequel or something, part of a series or something. Um, or if I just know most about it. But you know what I mean. I don't know if I'm gonna like a movie before I actually see it. Anything can happen, and it's like at least I tried. At least I gave it a shot. Thank you to Everett for donating and for choosing this as a reward. It was interesting, at least. I can say that for certain. It was definitely interesting, but it's like, okay, I've seen it. Now what? And again, I'm not trying to say this. I'm not trying to say this to like say anything negative towards you, Everett, or anyone who likes this. It's just it's not my kind of movie, I guess. It wasn't that entertaining to me, and like I said, the pacing, it just because of how the pacing was handled, because of how the black and white and the color storylines and how it was like done, it just left me very confused and like I just was not enjoying it most of the time watching. Again, there are a couple points I enjoyed. There are a couple things about it that were interesting, and yes, the reveals in the end were very, very interesting. But overall, it's like, yeah, okay. So yeah. Um, but tell me in the comments below what you thought. Tell me if you if you enjoyed the film, what you enjoyed about it, if you didn't, what you didn't enjoy about it, all that jazz. And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and thank you so much for tuning into today's video. If you want to check out any of my social media links and more, please check them out over to the side. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, please leave those down below. In the meantime, though, thank you so much once again for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.